Win. Promise that that's not a promise, yeah, that is a threat. You know that I promised to bring the team commas. When the whole team win, that's when you flex. Win. And I'ma do it again. Watch me win. Then watch me do it again. Tell them I can't take no loss. My team hold no L's, no.
Welcome to It's Culture Podcast. My name is Mark, and tonight we're going to be talking about Shannon Sharpe getting fired from ESPN. We're going to be looking at the Cincinnati Brawl. We had some arrests that happened with that. And then down in Jacksonville, rapper Ksoo found out the verdict in his trial. But before we get into that, my name is Mark Stevenson. As I said earlier, this is It's Culture Podcast, where I talk about everything from politics to sports to entertainment. Anything that's happening in the culture, we talk about it right here. Why? Because it's all part of the culture. And if you could do me a favor, hit the like button, hit the share button, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell so you can get all the updates. And as I say on all my shows, thank you all so much for tuning in. And thank you for rocking with me. So let's get into it. So Shannon Sharpe has found himself out at ESPN after he settled this lawsuit that I just talked about in another video last week, and I'll link the description to that video in here. It was the S assault trial, civil trial that was filed by attorney Tony Bugsby on behalf of a Jane Doe, who we found out to be a OnlyFans model who Shannon had been involved with romantically for a period of about 2 years. The initial lawsuit was $50 million. And he settled. There were reports that it was $23 million. And then this OnlyFans model decided that she was going to stop doing OnlyFans and retire. So she must have got a nice payday because she said she ain't doing OnlyFans no more. Shannon, he kept going on this podcast. He vividly denied all the allegations against him, said it was this is what Tony Busby do. I talked about it in my last video that Shannon had went to court and the Jane Doe didn't show up. Her attorneys didn't show up. So usually when that happens, typically they are trying to settle it behind closed doors so they don't have to go to court. And that's ultimately what happened in this case. That's ultimately what happened. So after he settled, ESPN has cut ties with him. And when I think about this case, right, I want to think about some people who came to Shannon Sharpe's club, Shay Shay, and told him some stuff. So let's take a listen.
I didn't want to get with a white woman because I was scared she might have me running down the street like Jonathan Majors.
There you go. See, come on, cat.
Not because I didn't like white women. I think white women are as great as any other women. But I'm not going to act like I'm not scared of them. I have a reason to be scared. You could be Kang the Conqueror, and they could take your rabbit ass down in 2 weekends.
Dating. What advice? If somebody, if a group of women were in here and it's like, come on, they talk to us. How this dating thing? Because it's Mo is different now than when you and I.
It's different, baby. I'm grateful I'm not 56 and trying.
You trying to say what you trying to say? Mo?
I'm looking right at you.
I know you looking at me.
I ain't backing down. You better take your old ass and get somebody to love you.
Damn, Mo.
Now I'm looking right at y'all. Let me tell y'all what Shannon needs.
Let me live my
Let
life.
me tell you what my baby needs. He need him an old fat gal who can bake good cakes, make some smothered turkey wings, who gonna rub his feet at the nighttime, okay, and gonna have a sip of his cognac to make him feel better about himself when he come home at night. That's what Shannon needs. You don't need no 26-year-old girl. You don't need no 36-year-old girl.
I do.
This is your auntie talking to you. Take your old ass and get you an old bitch out there that can love you old.
He was laughing. And I always say that comedians, when they say something, you know, yeah, it's comedic, but it's also prophetic. Monique and Cat Williams have been around the industry for a long time. They have seen a lot of stuff. They've experienced a lot of stuff in this industry. This is something new to Shannon. This type of limelight is different for him. Being an athlete, you know, you kind of run with certain crowds, but this is a different environment. And a 20-year-old OnlyFans model almost took down his entire empire that he is building post-football. A 20-year-old OnlyFans model. My man got finessed. She saw a lick. She engaged with him just enough. And I am pretty sure that this was a setup. Hey, I got this football player, this ex-football player. He got a podcast. I'm about to lick him for a couple of $1 million. You will lick, man. You will lick. You can't be engaging with these women, man. You too high profile. Now, he's joked about this on his nightcap sometimes with Chad. But you can't be doing this, man. You too old for this. And maybe you like him young. But this young one here just licked you for some money. And then all of this comes out with the backdrop to his brother being selected to the Pro Football Hall of Fame. They're the first two brothers in the Hall of Fame. First two. And all of this comes out ESPN firing. It's not really headlines because it wasn't like Shannon was on First Take like he was on Undisputed. He was only on a couple of days a week. He was only on there part-time. But the fact that he was supposed to be coming back, we all anticipated that he was going to be back next week because it's the start of training camp. The start of the NFL, preseason. Now he's not on there. So now he's going to be doing Nightcap and Club Shay Shay. I haven't heard if any sponsors have backed out. I know that there were rumors that Shannon was getting ready to sign a huge podcast deal. Don't know if that's off the table. But we know that ESPN, as soon as there's an allegation and he stepped down, I kind of figured that he wasn't going to be back on there. ESPN is very, very liberal in a sense. So they don't tolerate, all that stuff. Any type of allegation and you out the door quickly. So who knows what's up for Shannon? I don't know if there was a lesson to be learned here by him. Perhaps he'll be a lot more discreet. Perhaps he will be a little more cautious in his dealings with these women. Because clearly he got a type. Because he talked about a few other ones that on his shows. And maybe this is what these athletes do. It seems like all of them are getting caught up with these OnlyFans models for some reason. I guess it's easier just to fly them out, buy them something, and, you know, get what you want and then send them on their way than it is to actually date. Who knows? But now if it's going to cost you your livelihood, your respect, you know, your name, your public image, does it cost all that? I don't know. Y'all let me know. Moving on. So, down in Cincinnati, I know everybody done seen it. Viral video of a brawl that takes place after or in the vicinity of where the Cincinnati Music Festival was going on this past weekend. And I always tell people down in Cincinnati, black folks down in Cincinnati don't play around, man. I'm up here in Columbus. I'm telling you, they don't play around down there. A couple of months back, you had some Patriot Front or something, some little white supremacists they were hanging banners off of the interstate bridge right over by Lincoln Heights, and them people ran them up out of there. Got them up out of there, packed them up out of there quick. So when this brawl went down, this viral video went viral. It wasn't like the Mississippi brawl with the chairs and all that. This was a lot different. Only a small clip of the video actually went viral first. And that's how everybody came up into an uproar. And then the entire video surfaced and the narrative kind of changed a little bit. However, there has been some arrests in this case. So we're going to go take a look at it real quick.
Cincinnati police say they are still investigating this case, and we just confirmed that the FBI is helping them out on it. Still, as we wait for more evidence to unfold, we are learning new details today about the fight from both sides. Jermaine Matthews, Dekyra Vernon, and Montana's Merriweather are charged with felonious assault and aggravated riot for the viral brawl that broke out near West 4th and Elm on Saturday. Matthews was given a $100,000 bond after allegedly knocking a victim to the ground and hitting another person. His attorneys say it all started after the alleged victim kicked his car.
He confronts the guy and said, "What are you doing?" That's when, and this clip does exist on social media, it doesn't paint the whole picture, this white individual reaches over, says, "That's your car," and slaps my client in the face.
He absolutely does, 100%, and we are looking into that.
Dekyra Vernon is accused of hitting a woman during the incident. Her bond was set at $200,000.
She had nothing to do with any of the arguments that led up to it. From what we can see, she just interjected herself into a brawl in the street.
The highest bond set at $500,000 was for Montana's Merriweather. Prosecutors say he was the catalyst in what they call a coordinated attack. Detectives say he's seen on video whispering to a co-defendant just before the violence began.
We very remorseful, you know, on both sides. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying they was right or the other ones was right.
Merriweather's family says they're sympathetic to those who were hurt, but believe there's more to the story than what's been seen on social media.
But I want to put it out there, and he's not a racist. He have a biracial child.
So I guess there's this narrative that this was supposed to be like some type of race war or something. And it's funny because at the beginning of this video, there's like a little argument that ensues. And then the guy kicks the man's car and then smacks him. Now, I don't know if this guy knew what that meant. I don't know what led it on, but it led to an absolute beatdown. And then there's a woman that gets assaulted. I don't know, you know, it was uncalled for. She didn't have to get hit. But it was an absolute beat down. So they've been charged with all these charges, and this is what Ohio does. And there's a lot of outroar because it's been all on the news. It went viral for some reason. It's all on the news. Everybody's speaking. JD Vance, Vivid Ramaswamy. They all the usual suspects trying to paint a narrative that for some reason black people are violent and we can't act right. That man should have kept his hands to himself. Period. They could have been talking. They could have been, arguing. There's somebody trying to break it up, and then they could have just left it on. But you kicked the man's car and you slapped him. What ensued after that is your fault. You caused it all. And it was probably drunk because this happened about 3 o'clock in the morning. And I tell anybody this. Nothing good happens after midnight on the weekends. Nothing good. People are leaving bars. They done had too much to drink. They think they superhuman. They just start barking out stuff, saying stuff. Now, some people may turn the other cheek. Some black folks might say, you know what, I'm good tonight. I'm all right with the energy. And then you got some that ain't going to be like that. And they ain't going to be like that at all. And they going to put some hands on you. We ain't all just non-violent stuff. I just don't understand why people can't mind their business and why they just can't keep their hands to themselves. Somebody should have been out there with that guy to tell him, hey, man, it's too many. They didn't scope the scene out. They didn't see how many was together. And then what happened after that resulted in, felonious assault and aggravated rioting. Those bonds, 100,000, $500,000, just crazy bonds. $50,000. Hopefully these people got houses that they can get bonded out on, because that's a lot to be trying to put up. That's a lot to be trying to get put up. Now, the police are still investigating. And they said that there's going to be more arrests that happen. I just don't understand how you could initiate something and then become the victim. You initiated it, and then you become the victim because your actions caused the reaction, and you got hurt in the process. And all you had to do is just simply mind your business, get in your car, go home, and sleep off whatever alcohol or whatever drug that you was on. You can go sleep it off, and none of this would have happened. But alcohol made people tough guys, and they think they Superman. Until you come across some kryptonite. Y'all let me know what y'all think about that. I'd be curious to see what y'all think. Do y'all think these people should be charged? Y'all let me know in the chat. And then, finally, I've been following this case since about 2023. Following this whole Ksoo trial thing that was going on. And as a fan of hip hop and rap, I can't stand drill music. Drill is inherently, the people who actually use drill as a way to say that they're rappers when they actually are gang members, talking about the dead over records, showing up on people's family graves, especially in Jacksonville, because they just completely disrespectful down there in Jacksonville. The Jacksonville drill artists just do some things that it just make you cringe. They putting people's faces on album covers. Just out of control. So you have two drill artists who are on trial, and this is what happened.
Two gang members found guilty in the murder of Charles McCormick. In the last hour, a jury finding Hakeem Robinson, known as Ksoo, guilty for first-degree murder. Take a look at your screen right now because we're about to show you a picture showing how Ksoo reacted to the verdict. You can see him there sitting next to his attorney with his head in his hands. Another jury finding Leroy Whitaker, also known as ATK Scotty, guilty of first-degree murder earlier this afternoon. The victim, Charles McCormick, was shot and killed at a Merrill Road shopping plaza back in 2020.
It took 5 years. The man was shot in 2020. 5 years. Head down, first-degree murder, life in prison, no parole. You just threw your life away. And this is all over a diss song. This man was killed over a diss song. Drill music is responsible for a lot of the murders in the hip-hop industry. Not all of them, but a vast majority of them are because of stuff that happened with drill rappers. Because they talk about this stuff on records. And I don't get it. Hip hop was about storytelling. It was about trying to get out of the hood so you could do something different, do something positive. But these dudes are talking about stuff they doing now. Right now. Whether it's murdering somebody, beating them up, going to their loved one's grave and urinating over it and doing all kind of crazy stuff. They like, I don't know if it's the drugs they taking or what it is, but it just don't make no sense to me. It makes zero sense to me. And they keep getting killed between Jacksonville, Orlando, Tampa. They talking about each other on the records, and then they doing stuff. And then when somebody dies, whoever it was, crew who did the murder, they out here bragging about it. Or they smoking on it. We smoking on whatever. Whoever the dead homie was. It is, to me, it's despicable. I hate it. I don't listen to that trash because it ain't music. It's not music. And I just wish that they would stop calling these people rappers because that's not what they are. Just call them what they are. These are gang members. They just happen to be going into the studio making some stuff so they can try to act like they something else. Nah. They videos, they got all the guns in the videos. They talking about everything. They are telling on themselves. And I know that we got politicians out here that are trying to get the Rap Act signed. So some of these rappers can't be prosecuted for their lyrics. But when it comes to drill should be the exception. Because this is exactly what they doing. All you got are families crying, hurting, people showing up to people's funerals, killing people at a funeral. They can't even bury their loved ones without it getting shot up. We just saw in Chicago where Mellow Rax had her album release party. Her brother, boyfriend, and 2 sisters killed. For what? Drive-by shoot. 4 people died. Like, when the violence gonna cease? We can't be out here talking about we want all these other things and we don't police our own, man. We got to get better at this. Because there ain't no accountability when it comes to stuff like this. We can talk about accountability with everything else. We can talk about the government and how they do stuff. But this violence, this is our people doing this. And it's just senseless and it don't make any sense. Y'all let me know what y'all think about that. I'll be very, very curious to see what is said in the comments when it comes to this violence and this music. And that's my time tonight. So I thank y'all for tuning in. I promise y'all I'm gonna be getting back active with these videos. I've been dealing with some things. So I'm gonna be back with more content and more videos. So y'all hit that like button, hit that share button, hit that subscribe button. Help me out. Help me get to 15K subs. And I'll see y'all on the next video. Keep it culture.